going right now. Both players, if we look at their economy, looks like Mork's pulling ahead in the gas, but Opec's got a little bit ahead on the mineral count right now. And if we look at army-wise, both players are pretty much even in army supply as well as worker supply. Switching back over to production tab, we do have +2 weapon attack coming up from Mork, as well as getting his hive tech going up, and we do have the robotics bay going up for the Protoss player, so it looks like he's going to be transitioning into some kind of Colossus play. Meanwhile, we do have a lot of creep spread still going for Mork. He does have the watchtower pretty well creeped, so he'll be able to keep good vision, know when units are actually coming to the watchtower, and it looks like these roaches are getting ready to take out these the proton cannons over here. It looks like he's going to take those down pretty easily. Probably go up there and take out that pylon as well. Oh, yep, use the overseer to take down the pylon, it looks like. And meanwhile, it looks like he's getting ready to set up his 5th base right now. Possibly he might even take the 6th base, but he does have this one zealot just kind of chilling up here, possibly to harass these bases once they get saturated and undefended. Meanwhile, we do have the Protoss player. Looks like he's starting to saturate his 4th and 3rd base. Hasn't quite taken his 3rd up here yet, or his 2nd here, but killing that pylon did supply block him for a little bit, so he's going to have to get some more pylons up. We do also have 2 spires coming up from Mork, possibly to get double upgrades, +1/+1 right away. We do have the +2 attack as well as Overlord Transport upgrade going up. And we do have some Immortals going up, as well as 11 Hydralisks now in production, so it looks like he could be dropping the Protoss player. And we do have a Colossus now in production, as well as getting that +1 armor attack. If we look at the upgrades, Mork's are 1-2 Roaches versus 1-0 for the Protoss player. And Mork just looks like he's just taking over the entire map. Meanwhile, we have some Void Ray harass going in, taking out these infested Terrans, but it looks like more and more infested Terrans are just popping, and this Void Ray is going to be dead pretty fast. Yep, those infested Terrans get that Void Ray taken down. Alright, and looks like we have just a huge Zealot force coming up. Zealots may not be the best thing without sentries. If he had some sentries in here, you could basically create a wall behind his roaches, and then his charge lots can get in there and do pretty good damage, as they do need a lot of surface area to do some attacking. Mork is now maxed out, 199/200, while the Protoss player is sitting at 176. Both players are sitting at quite a bit of money, so they'll be able to do some pretty good macro. We do have a Greater Spire going up from Mork, as well as +1 flyer attacks, and 3 Corruptors are now in production. Getting Protoss level 2, Zerg Missile Attacks level 3, Zerg Ground level 3, also getting the Neural Parasite upgrade, which is the mind control for the Infestors. And 8 Photon Cannons in production for the Protoss player, so looks like he's getting ready to defend these 2 bases pretty well from any kind of possible counterattack. Ooh, we also have a Spine Crawler, Spore Crawler coming up from Mork. 4 more Spine Crawlers, so it looks like he's getting ready to do some good defense here in the center. Let's see where he decided to put those down at. Looks like he's putting them over here at his 5th base, and also getting his 6th base right now. So maybe that Zealot can do some damage before that goes down. We do also have a Baneling nest going up from Mork, so it looks like he's just getting ready to be able to make every single possible unit that exists in the game. Looks like these drones are heading out to make some Spine Crawlers in the center of the map, guarding this watchtower here. Which would be pretty good if the Protoss decides to push out. He can kind of get some pretty good defense here in the center of the map. Meanwhile, these Overlords do now have the drop capabilities. We do have 2 Overseers coming up here from the top just to kind of do some scouting. Another Overlord here empty, and this Overlord here empty as well. Looks like he might be trying to get some Banelings in there to do some Baneling dropping. But these Overseers are just kind of flying through. We have a ton of gateways, 17 gateways going up for the Protoss right now, which is a ton of warp gates. Looks like he's going to be ready to push out soon and get remaxed as fast as possible. We do have Flyer Armor level 1 coming up, as well as +3/+3 about halfway done. +2 Ground Armor, +2 Weapon Attacks are going up for the Protoss player, as well as getting the Extended Thermal Lance and 2 more Colossi coming up. +2 level attacks is almost done, it looks like, so upgrades are getting about even. We do have a pretty good battle here going on. It looks like Mork's going to clean this up pretty good. These Zealots aren't doing too much damage. Protoss is, though, warping out a huge Zealot force, which looks like they're going to come in here and clean up a lot of this as well. Let's see if we can get another warp in before the Zerg pushes in too much. Sorry I missed the beginning of that engagement, though, but it looks like pretty even trade so far. Mork's still pushing in. Looks like he's going to warp in a few more units to kind of hold this off. Yep, there comes a huge Zealot warp, or Stalker warp in this time. So he'll be able to push away some of those units. And this Colossus looks like it was way out of position. Way up there to the north. It might get sniped before it gets back to home. Yep, that Colossus is going down. Meanwhile, we have another engagement here. Colossi plus a few Stalkers. These Spine Crawlers look like they're getting in position to push as well as some more Zealots. Looks like Mork's got the Protoss player on the back foot right now. But having all those warp gates, he's able to warp in a lot of units. We do have 3-3 Roaches versus 2-2 Zealots right now. Zealots do have charge, so they are able to catch up, but it looks like Mork can just just kind of basically kite those pretty easily, and then burrows them so they can get their movement or their hit points regenerated. And meanwhile, this Colossus on the high ground is doing some pretty good damage, but those Corruptors there, you might be able to shoo those away. We do have more Roaches coming in here from Mork, taking down those cannons pretty fast, getting a huge warp in of Zealots again. I'd like to see some more sentries in here to kind of maybe throw some Guardian Shields and some Force Fields to kind of cut this army down so Zealots can do just a little bit more damage. But it looks like he will be able to get this cleaned up pretty good. We do have 24 Zerglings as well as melee attacks level 1, as well as the Adrenal Glands, so the Zerglings will be able to attack faster, and getting the Roach Burrow Protoss level 3 weapons going up right now as well. Protoss is still just sitting on the 4 bases. Meanwhile, Mork's got his 6 going up, so Mork has his entire side of the map pretty much covered with bases. As you see, he's building these Zerglings here in the center. Huge Zergling Roach force. Our supply is currently 196 to 135. If we look at the army, Pain, as you can see here, Mork's army supply is a lot higher than the Protoss player, but worker supply, the Protoss is still sitting a lot higher. And then there's that Sentry force, so we can start seeing some Force Fields, maybe some Guardian Shields. And we do see the Protoss is now taking his 4th or 5th base over. It'd be nice to see him kind of take down this and get his 6th base up before it gets creeped up. We do have 24 Banelings now in production for Mork, so we'll see what kind of Baneling aggression he does or chooses to do. Meanwhile, Mork's sitting here with his army in the center of the map. It's pretty good positioning. He'll be able to see anything that's coming in, as well as he's got these Spine Crawlers. This one here isn't burrowed yet, so it's not really going to do any damage. But he does see these probes long distance mining right now. We do have a Warp Prism incoming for the Terran player, or the Protoss player right now. He could be able to do some pretty good harassment with that as well. Looking over at the minimap here, we do have a small force of Overlords coming down here to the south, as well as this main attack going out here. Looks like this main attack is going to do some pretty good damage against this small force. Yep, pushing the Protoss back into his base. Meanwhile, we see the Banelings coming down here. Looks like he's going to drop them right there in the natural expansion, or the expansion. Alright, here come the Banelings. So many probes dead. Alright, meanwhile his main Roach force is pushing through the natural expansion. As we do have more Banelings dropping over here in this base as well. Taking out so many probes. Oh, it gets almost all those probes. Meanwhile, he's pushing up into the natural, so it possibly could be a GG pretty soon for the Protoss. We do have 12 more Roaches and then 2 cannons coming up. We look at army supply. We do have a lot more in favor of Mork, and even worker supply now, so huge advantages going to Mork. And if we look at the units killed, we can see here that Mork's killed 51 workers and 211 units, so he's definitely ahead right now. This is going to be GG real soon for Protoss. As you can tell, and he's starting to goop up this map as well, of this expansion. Meanwhile, more units just funneling into the production structures for the Protoss player. Just taking out his ability to make any kind of units right now. We don't see any kind of response here from the Protoss player. So many Roaches in his base right now. This many 3-3 Roaches, he'll be able to clean up most of this pretty fast. The only thing he could really get would be, I mean, you can't really even get anything. Losing all these gateways too fast. And Mork's just rallying units. Meanwhile, we did have that drop go in here. And he is taking out a lot of Mork's production facilities as well. Took down the hive. So there's some small Roaches here coming in here to take this out. So it looks like we have a kind of a base trade situation. With how many units Mork's got on the field right now, it looks like he'll be able to clean this up a lot faster. because Mork does still have these hatches here, 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 and here. And all he has to do is just rebuild a few buildings. I mean, he's got his hydralisk den down here, so he should still be able to produce hydralisks. And sitting at 8,000, 4,000, he should be able to rebuild pretty much whatever he wants. Let's give him a harass this, but it looks like, yeah, all the gateways are going down now for the Protoss player. So it looks like he's just kind of hanging in, kind of just see what's going on. There's a StarCast 2 channel vent. StarCast channel vent, so they might be just talking in vent or on Skype, just kind of talking about the different builds and stuff like that. But as you can see, the Protoss player is just getting base rolled here. He's got nothing left. Definitely a cool macro game to see, though. They did have a lot of bases going up. Yeah, it looks like he's walling off this right here. Mork does have 3 Broodlords in production right now, so it looks like his Spires were safe as well. He has Spire and his Greater Spire. Meanwhile, Mork's Roach Force is now pushing down into the ladder of the expansions. One of his really only mining bases, this base is pretty well low. This base here still has pretty decent mineral saturation. And there's the GG from Opec. Thank you for tuning into this cast. If you like my games, please subscribe to my channel. There'll be plenty more like it. And we do have those Broodlords coming in here now to take out these photon cannons as they just kind of finish up this match. But it doesn't look like too much more is going to happen. And as you can see here, it was a very, very interesting game. You see the infestors are starting to do a lot more damage. Might see them used a lot more in the infestors used a lot more in the Zerg versus Protoss matchup to kind of slow down the Protoss ball from expanding, moving in. But thank you for tuning in. You can always follow me on Twitter at www.twitter.com/retgoska.sc2. You can find out there. I usually post all my replay information up there as well. But thank you for tuning in. Have a good day.